You're listening to NAPAbroadcasting.com.
Thanks for joining us once again here at Napa Broadcasting. We all know about startups. They start off with a vague notion, an idea, a vision, then the work of testing that idea, talking to people, trying to raise money, and at the same time fleshing out the idea, exposing it to the harsh sunlight of criticism and discussion. And then, if a million pieces come together in just the right order, birthing the idea into a real, tangible business. This was once true of Facebook and Google, and it's just as true for the effort to bring professional baseball to Napa. Many months ago, Bruce Johnston came here on this program to talk about the Napa Silverados, a professional team right in our own backyard. Since then, the reality has happened. All of those millions of pieces have aligned in just the right order, and soon we'll hear play ball right here on the campus of Napa Valley College. Here to bring us up to date and to tell us what's ahead, I am joined once again by Bruce Johnston. Bruce, thanks so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a delight to be here.
A million moving parts.
Yeah, pretty much.
We were just talking before we went on the air about some of those parts, and no matter how much you plan, I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong.
There is a lot to go wrong. There's also a lot that goes right, but you don't really pay attention to that as much as you do when the problems crop up. But you know, it's interesting when you start something like this. You can be pretty well assured that everything isn't going to go exactly as you had planned, and so some days you resort to Plan B, and some days you look at something and say, you know what, God, just get me through year one, and we'll figure out a way to figure this thing out for calendar 2019. So.
Right.
We have worn out quite a few Plan Bs.
One of the things I asked you before we started, I said, do you have a team? And yes, you have, in fact, maybe even more than you need.
Yeah, we do have a team. I'm very excited about it, too. We've got some great local folks, a couple of local guys here. One of them was our first draft pick in the draft. A gentleman named Mateo Fernandez actually went to Napa Valley College. His last game here, as a matter of fact, was a no-hitter, and he went to Vintage High. Then came to Napa Valley College, and for the last 2 years has been working for his uncle painting houses. And he decided that he wasn't quite ready to give the dream up. He came out to the tryouts. He was very, very impressive. He's about 6'4", left-handed pitcher, was getting it up into the 90s. And so Tito Fernandez Jr., our field manager, and I put our heads together, and we said, that's the guy. We want left-handed pitching, and we want left-handed pitching throwing 90 miles an hour. So we're optimistic that he's going to be a good part of the team.
Tell us a little bit about the process that you went through to put a team together. I mean, it's not something you just advertise, online somewhere.
No, it's funny. One of the things that I have done is what I've tried to do is hire really good people that know exactly what it takes in this league. And Tito Fuentes Jr. was a great hire for me. Tito has played in the minor leagues. He's been an instructor in the minor leagues. He's been a coach in the minor leagues. He's been a manager in the minor leagues. And obviously you're familiar with his dad, played the Giants organization in the 70s. And so he's got a huge network of baseball people. And in addition to that, he operates baseball academies both in Arizona and in the Dominican Republic. So he's got a huge network of people to turn to. And we actually got a little bit oversubscribed, and I told him, look, we can't, there's too many guys. He says, I know, but I told you I was going to bring you a winning team. I said, okay, we'll just get the winning team down to 23 at some point before the season starts. So that's what we'll have. We'll have 23 guys, and I think right now we have 32 or 33 showing up for our abbreviated spring training. They'll all show up on the 22nd of May. We'll have our first practice on the 23rd. 24th of May, we head over to Sonoma for a exhibition game, then some practices, then a practice under the lights, and then the 29th we play here our own exhibition game. The Pittsburgh Diamonds are coming to visit us, so we're excited about the team we're putting on the field. We think that Tito promises me we're going to be a contender, and not unlike some political races in this particular one, or I guess it's more like basketball, but 4 out of the 6 teams will go to the playoffs. So the top 4 teams will play a one-game. Number 4 will play number 1. Number 2 will play number 3, and that's on Saturday, September the 1st. And then the winners of those games play on September the 2nd and for all the marbles. So Tito has promised me we're going to be competitive, and he says the rest of the league is scared of us right now. So.
And in looking for players, are you competing against some of these other teams for these players, against the team in Vallejo or in San Rafael or in Sonoma?
Yeah, we are. I mean, there were 96 gentlemen that came out to the tryouts, and so all of the teams had the ability to draft them. And these guys aren't locked into any team. I mean, they've got the ability to pick any team that they want to play for. And I think that obviously Napa is it's a very attractive, very attractive environment. We all know how beautiful the valley is, and it's a new team. And I think there was some excitement for some of these guys about playing for the new team. The first guy we picked was a gentleman named Scott Harkin. He's sort of a local. I sort of sometimes expand my version of what local is. He lives in Pleasant Hill. He played in Japan last year, and none of the scouts really got a good look at him. They got a very good look at him in the California Winter League. In his last outing down there, I was talking to him, and I said, "How'd your last outing go?" He said, "It went okay." I said, "Okay, it's what happened?" He said, "I pitched 4 innings." He said, "Well," he said, "I struck out 10." I said, "You struck out 10 guys in 4 innings?" Okay. So we think the Washington Nationals have got their eyes on him. And, ultimately, Jeff, our goal is to create an opportunity for these players to move up into affiliated baseball and extend their professional careers. So in a perfect world for me, we would have an absolutely different roster on the final day of the year than we do on the first day, as a result of the fact that we were able to send guys up into the affiliated ball.
And is there any kind of contract that these guys are under?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're actually under contract with us, and if an affiliated ball club came to us and said we would like Scott as an example, we'd like to sign him, the answer is we'd love to have you sign him. And so we would basically tear up our agreement with him and make him promise to send us a half a dozen baseballs and a jersey or two or something like that.
You wouldn't demand remuneration?
No. Again, it goes back to the fact that the purpose for us, and it's not just the players, it's the people in the office too, create an environment where we can try and move them forward to live their dream of playing professional baseball. So if any of our players get a chance to do that, we will gladly tear up their contract and let them go. That's good for everybody.
Cool. You got ahead of the game here a little bit talking about the playoffs. Let's talk about when the season starts.
Oh, that's probably a good place to start. First game is the 31st of May here at the college, and it's going to look very, very different than it is now. You're going to see a lot of advertising and signage in the ballpark that isn't there today. You're going to see the college's food truck there. You're going to see beer and wine being sold at the game. So 31st of May and then the 1st of June. And then we have a few days away, and then we come back and we start the remainder of the regular season, I believe, on either the 8th or the 9th. I think it'd be Saturday the 8th. And so I think that's somewhere around there. We've got a few days away, and then that'll give me about 6 days to figure out what the heck we did wrong and figure out a way to do it right for the next games, which we expect to do some stuff wrong. We're going to ask for people's patience and just tell them that we're going to work really, really hard to create a great fan experience. But unfortunately, that May 31st date is going to get here before we know it, but we'll be ready. We're excited.
And it's important for people to understand. I mean, this goes to what we were talking about before in terms of getting through year one and some issues, some problems along the way, is that it will be an evolving experience. The people that go to the opening game this year will see a very different field, a lot of things very different if they go to the opening game next season.
Exactly. I mean, this is all, it's all, until you put the team on the field, until you sell the first ticket, until you bring that first fan in through the gate, there's a lot of stuff we're going to have to figure out on the fly. And because there are so very many moving parts to all of this. But, our goal is, and has always been from day one, is to provide a super fan experience. And that means beer that's cold, and that means hot dogs that are hot, and food that's good, and and a nice environment. And this is fun, affordable family entertainment, and we're really hoping the fans are going to respond in a positive way with being respectful to the players, to the umpires, to the opposing team. Hey, you know what? We'll root against them, but we're going to do it in the right way. And really show the world, or at least the other 5 teams, that this is a great place, and we've got great people here in Napa, and we're going to support our Napa guys. And we don't like you, but That doesn't mean that we're not gonna. It doesn't mean we hate you. We're just gonna. It's gonna be a good, clean rivalry.
Tell our listeners who the other 5 teams are that you're going to be playing.
This is our inaugural season, and it's also the first year for the Martinez Clippers. So they're in the league now. It's the Pacific Association of Professional Baseball Clubs. The other teams are the San Rafael Pacifics. You've got the Sonoma Stompers. You have the Vallejo Admirals, who won the league last year, and you have the Pittsburgh Diamonds. So we're all basically within an hour travel time. We do not have a team bus. That's not in our budget. So if a player brings 3 other guys with him to the game, we'll pay him a little mileage. But it's all less than an hour travel time.
Mm-hmm. And talk a little bit about who runs the league. How does that all work?
We have a commissioner. His name is Jonathan Stone, and he is, technically he's in charge of the league. But the members, all of the teams own a portion of the league. We all own equal. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
We all own a portion, so it's very much ownership driven. We actually have a meeting on Wednesday, our final meeting before the season starts, and so, the individual owners can come back, and I'll give you a great example. We were looking at the beginning, when we started recruiting, we were looking at having 22-man teams. And then because the league had 23 last year, and they said, you know what, we really need to cut it down a little bit. So then one of the team, owners went to one of the other owners and said, I really I wish we were going to have 23 because we're just struggling with finding enough fielders, and so the vote went to the owners, and it was pretty simple. Hey, do you want to move back to 23? And I think 4 out of the 6 said, yeah, we do. So it was very easily ratified and adopted. This is nothing like Washington or nothing like Sacramento, where you've got level-headed people making reasonable decisions, and so but it's very much owner driven, because we're all in the same business. We're in the business of being part of the community. We're in the business of providing an opportunity for the players. So that's our common goal.
And how helpful has it been to you in organizing this to look at the other teams that have been around for a while, Vallejo, San Rafael specifically, that I know have been doing this for quite a while?
Yeah, you know what? I will tell you that without exception, all of the other owners have been awesome in terms of helping me. They've helped me show some of the things that they did that worked well, some of the things they didn't do that failed miserably, and it pointed me the right direction without exception. I cannot speak more highly of all of them because it's in everybody's interest for the new teams to succeed, and they've really taken that to heart. They've helped me, extremely grateful for all the assistance that I've gotten from all of them.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about the games themselves, and a little bit about, are they during the day, or some of them going to be at night? Give us a little sense of.
We have a schedule. We play 6 days a week. We'll actually play 80 games in 92 days. And our weekday games, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all start at 6 o'clock. So hopefully folks get out of work, come to the ballpark, grab a beer, grab a hot dog. And then the Saturday games will all start at 5 o'clock. We're going to make it a little bit easier to get some of the kids out. And then our Sunday games will start at 1 o'clock. So one of the fun things we're going to do on one of the Sundays is we're going to have a bike to the park day. And we've got a local bicycle company that's going to be sponsoring with a giveaway, and hopefully we can have people come down the Vine Trail and ride their bikes to the game. We'll have hopefully free valet parking for your bike and make an event out of it.
And you'll never have to worry about what to do with your weekends again.
No, I won't. It's funny. I had a good friend of mine he's been a good friend of mine for many, many years, and he said, he says when I was a kid, he says the two things I wanted to make sure I picked a career that A, I didn't have to work on weekends, and B, I didn't have to wear my name on my shirt. So anyway, I've sort of screwed that up. I guess if I was going to pick up a weekend job, it would have been professional golfer. But since I wasn't that good, I guess it's just professional baseball instead.
Now, who's managing the team?
Tito Fuentes Jr.
He's actually the manager.
He's actually been working with me in sales and sponsorships, and working with me on some of the back office logistics stuff like baseballs and ordering bats and ordering uniforms and batting practice gear and batting helmets and all of this stuff. So he's been terrific. And again, has grown up in the baseball world, knows baseball inside and out, and he's just been a huge asset to me.
And how did you pick uniforms, colors? Mascot? How did that all evolve?
You know, there's a guy here locally. His name is Dom Morrissey, and Dom has done a lot of things over the years. He is incredibly talented. He's a graphic artist, as well as he, knows his ins and outs of social media, and designed the website and designed the logo and helped me pick the colors. And so he's been a huge part of building the Silverados brand. Silver, black, and red are our colors, and we, and then you start looking for uniform people, and it turns out to be that it's not. You can't get that as quickly as it is as you would expect, because it's all custom work, and you have to figure out, okay, how tall can the logo be, because it has to fit between the buttons, and it has to do all these things. So Dom has really helped me go through all of that process, and then you also have to find people who are supplying your uniforms that you can trust to perform, because we need there's no question, you don't get a do-over, and you don't get I need a 3-day extension because my season starts on the 31st. You don't get an extension, so you have to make sure that you're also picking people that can perform, and then that also you can work with, because it makes sense to have those same people doing the swag that we're selling, that our T-shirts and hoodies and hats and all the good stuff that has our Silverados brand on it. So it's it's a process. I mean, and I'd never ordered uniforms before. I'd never ordered baseballs before. Fun thing with the baseballs is that even though it's a $12,000 line item for the season, but the good news is, because we can put somebody's logo on them, that we can defray some of the cost for some of the cost of the baseballs. So it's that's a help. But there's it's all these things. I mean, you have to pick suppliers you can trust, and suppliers that are going to perform. And unfortunately, every once in a while, you learn that one or two of them don't perform to your expectations, and then you say, okay, then I made a mistake, and that's on me. I'll fix it. And the attitude is, we'll fix it. We know stuff's going to go wrong. We're just gonna fix it.
What were some of the things, and I don't mean problems necessarily, but just, there had to be things that you thought about or didn't think about early on that are, it's like, that was another moving part that we didn't anticipate.
Oh my God, I think there's more of those than there were ones that I actually thought about. I mean, you never think about, it's like umpires, okay, I forgot to put my line item in for umpires, and that's $270 a game. So multiply that by 40 home games, because the home team pays for the umpires. So I was hoping to get them sponsored by a local optical company, but apparently the umpires didn't take well to that.
Oh, what a great idea!
Yeah. So we'll try again next year. But I thought that would be amusing, and the umpires didn't think it was nearly as amusing as I did. But it's all those things. It's it's arranging for the team meals. The home team is required to provide a pregame and a postgame meal for both teams, and so there you have 60 people that you're basically catering for 41 times during the year. And so we've been very fortunate. We've found some local restaurants, Via Corona and Fazzarati's and Filippi's and Supper Time and Catering by Jen and Southside, and where they've stepped up and said, basically each of them has taken a day and said, I will feed your 60 folks, on Tuesday all throughout the season, and in trade for that, they get some signage in the outfield, and they get some signage in the food area, and some PA announcements and program announcements and all of that stuff. So that's, going back to the part where the community has been very, very supportive of what we're trying to accomplish. Because if you looked at, okay, I don't have that support, what is that going to cost me to do? Think of what it would cost to cater 40 events for 60 people throughout the year, and it's a big number. Mm-hmm. So I'm very, very grateful for their support.
Talk a little bit about community reaction that you've gotten so far and what you're anticipating.
It's been great. I mean, people who, I think if I had a frustration, it's the when I run into people who said professional baseball in Napa, what's that? When is that? How did you, because there's still a lot of people that don't know. I mean, despite the fact that we've been out in the community, despite the fact that we've been, in some of the local magazines and newspaper, some people still aren't aware of what we're doing, and I think that's my biggest frustration. But for most of the folks I talk to, the first thing they say is, you know what, this is great, because there is no fun, affordable family entertainment in Napa. And unfortunately, we live in a place where a lot of what happens in our beautiful valley isn't necessarily affordable for people that live here. And this isn't one of them. With $10 tickets and weekdays, if your son or daughter is a little leaguer or in the girls' junior softball, they wear their hat or their uniform top, they get a $5 ticket with an adult. So we're really, it started out being about baseball, and it quickly morphed into being about fun, affordable family entertainment, and then it really has turned into be a very unique way for us as an organization to give back to our community.
And talk a little bit about the other teams that have been doing this a while and how it works for them in their communities.
I think that we're all basically in the same boat. Without a certain level of community support, this is not, this would be confined to really rich people, because it's not inexpensive to do what we're doing. So all of us recognize that we're only here because the community is supporting us. And so what all of them do, and I learned very, very early on, is that they work very hard to give back to the community in terms of, we're going to create baseball camps, and we're going to have folks that don't necessarily have the resources to come to camp or don't have the shoes. We'll make sure they have shoes. We'll make sure they have gloves. We'll make sure they have a baseball to take home with them when they go home. We have nonprofit beneficiaries every night. Every night we'll have a raffle where there's going to be Silverados swag that we'll raffle off, and they will be able to keep all of the proceeds from the raffle. And then in addition to that, they will be in all of the promotional material that we put out. And in addition to that, they have part of the information booth where they can be exposed to perhaps a different group of people than they might ordinarily have been exposed to, where they can hand out literature and they can collect donations, they can collect addresses and email addresses for their future events and that kind of thing. So we're trying to create a way that it's more than just financial, because we want that to be a part of it, because there's a lot of nonprofits in the valley that, $800 or $1,000 wouldn't really move the needle very much. Right. But on the other hand, there are a lot of them that would move the needle significantly. And so what we're trying to do is identify those nonprofits and offer them the ability to get some exposure as well as some financial gain by participating with the team.
All right, before you go, let's tell everybody again a couple of things. One, when the first games are, and two, what the website address is so people can find out some information if they have additional questions.
The first game is the 31st of May. We have sold out the first game, pending resolution of whether I add some additional bleacher seating. We've had issues with the bleachers we're trying to resolve, and it may well be that we can accommodate some additional people. I will know more about that probably later this week. So the 31st of May and the 1st of June are our first two games. There are still tickets available for the game on the 1st of June. There are also season tickets. We have two different kinds of tickets. We have general admission, which is basically the bleachers, and then we also have what we call the premium seating area, which is on field. You get your chair and a half a table, and it's just past the first base dugout, and so your field level will be behind a net, so you don't have to worry about those screaming line drivers coming at you. And so some people have signed. We've sold out all of those for the first two games as well. It's just a little bit different experience because you'll have waiter and waitress service. So you don't have to get up and go to the concessions if you don't want, but you'll also have that field level view and be right next to the ball players. So, and then where do you go to get tickets? The best place to go is to our website. That's www.silveradosbaseball.com. Silverados is plural, so it's silveradosbaseball.com. You can also ask questions. If you have questions, send us an email at info@silveradosbaseball.com. You can ask ticket questions by tickets@silveradosbaseball.com. And if you need to reach me for whatever reason, I'm Bruce at silveradosbaseball.com. So I'm always happy to help if a fan's having problems with finding tickets or getting tickets or whatever. I'm always happy to see what I can do to help.
Napa Silverados, Bruce Johnston, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Jeff. It's always good to be here.
Thanks for listening to NAPAbroadcasting.com. Napa Valley Radio for the way we live now.